Brahma Purana. Varna Ashrama. There are 4 varnas, classes. Their names are brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya and shudra. The duties of a brahmana are to donate alms, perform tapasya, worship the gods, perform yajnas and study the Vedas. To earn a living, brahmanas are authorized to teach and act as priests at sacrifices. The duties of kshatriya are to beat arms and protect the earth, donate alms and perform sacrifices. A kshatriya is also permitted to study the shastras. The duties of a vaishya are agriculture, animal husbandry and trade. That apart, vaishyas should donate alms, perform sacrifices and study the shastras. The duties of a shudra are to serve brahmanas. Shudras can also be shopkeepers and artisans. In times of emergency, a brahmana is allowed to adopt the livelihoods of kshatriyas or vaishyas to earn a living. In similar fashion, a kshatriya is permitted to adopt the livelihoods of vaishyas or shudras and a vaishya is permitted to adopt the livelihoods of shudras. There are 4 ashramas, stages of life, as well. The first of these is known as Brahmacharya, celibate studenthood. During this period, the individual spends his days with his guru and studies the Vedas well. He has to serve his guru in proper fashion and live on alms. The next ashrama is that of Grihastha, householder stage. The individual now gets married and has children. He serves the gods, the sages, the ancestors and guests. It is householders who provide alms for sages and hermits. That is the reason why the householder stage is very important. The third ashrama is known as Vanaprastha, forest-dwelling stage. The individual now retires to the forest and withdraws his mind from the earthly life. He can leave his wife in the care of his sons or take her with him. He lives on roots, fruits and leaves and makes a bed for himself under the trees. He is not permitted to shave or cut his hair and his clothes have to be made out of bark or skins. The final ashrama is that of sannyasa, hermithood. A hermit gives up all association with the world and lives alone. He grows completely detached. He lives alone. He gets his food through begging. He is not permitted to spend more than 1 night in a village, or more than 5 nights at a time in a city. The Chandala and the Brahmarakshasa. A Chandala is an outcast. On the outskirts of the city named Avanti lived a Chandala. There was a temple of Vishnu in Avanti and the Chandala was devoted to Vishnu. He was also a good singer. Ekadashi Tithi is the 11th lunar day. Every month, on Ekadashi Tithi, the Chandala would fast during the day. At night he would go to Vishnu's temple and sing praises of Vishnu. He never failed to observe this ritual. The river Kshipra, flowed by the city of Avanti. On one night, on Ekadashi Tithi, the Chandala went to the banks of the river to collect some flowers for worshipping Vishnu. On the banks of the river there was a tree and on that tree there lived a Brahmarakshasa, demon. As soon as the demon saw the Chandala, it wished to devour him. "Please not tonight," said the Chandala. "I have to worship Vishnu throughout the night. Let me go now." "Not possible," replied the demon. "I have not eaten for 10 days and I am famished. I can't let you go." "Please," said the Chandala, "let me go. I promise that I will come back once the prayers are over. You will then be free to do with me as you wish." The demon let the Chandala go. The Chandala went to the temple. He worshipped Vishnu and spent the night in singing Vishnu's praises. Next day, he returned to the demon. "I am indeed surprised," said the demon. "You are very truthful. You can't be a Chandala. You must be a Brahmana. Answer my questions. What did you do all night?" "I stood outside Vishnu's temple and sang his praise," replied the Chandala. "For how long have you been doing this?" asked the demon. "For 20 years," was the Chandala's reply. You have acquired a lot of punya, store of merit, through this, said the demon. Please grant me one night's punya, I am a sinner. No, replied the Chandala. I will not part with my punya. I have given you my body, eat me if you will. But the punya is mine. Very well then, said the demon. Give me 2 hours worth of punya. I am a sinner. I have told you I will not give you any of my punya, replied the Chandala. But what is your sin? The Brahmarakshasa related his story. His name was Somasharma and he was the son of Devasharma. Devasharma was a righteous brahmana. But Somasharma fell into evil ways. A brahmana is not authorized to act as a priest in a sacrifice before he has had his sacred thread ceremony, upanayana. But Somasharma became a priest at a yajna even though his upanayana had not been held. As a result of this sin, when he died, he became a demon. The Chandala was stirred to pity at this sad story and parted with some of his punya. The demon was delighted and expressed his gratitude. He went to a tirtha and performed penance. Thus it was that the demon was freed. What about the Chandala? He returned home and then left for a tour of all the sacred places of pilgrimage. At one such tirtha, he remembered the story of his earlier life. He was a hermit well versed in the Vedas and the Shastras. He used to beg alms for a living. Once he had obtained some alms. But some thieves were then in the process of stealing cows, and the hooves of the cows raised a cloud of dust. The dust fell onto the food and the hermit threw away the alms in disgust. Since he had thrown away alms, he was born as a Chandala. After performing penance for the sin, the Chandala was pardoned. Yoga. The word yoga means union. Yoga is thus a form of meditation that unites the human soul, Atman, with the divine soul, Paramatman, or equivalently, with the divine essence, Brahman. A practitioner of yoga has to study the Puranas, the Vedas and history. He has to exercise restraint regarding the sort of food he eats. The best forms of food are yogurt, fruits, roots and milk. Yoga should be practiced in a place that is pleasant. It should not be too hot or too cold there. Nor should there be any noise to distract the practitioner. Yoga has to be performed in a proper posture, asana. The practitioner concentrates the entire focus of his mind on the tip of his nose. He contemplates the form of Brahmana. This can only be successful if one is detached and controls one's senses completely. If yoga is performed properly, there comes the knowledge that the same Paramatman is in all living beings. To think that living beings are distinct from one another is only to fall prey to one's illusions. All of the elements have the same Paramatman in them. Epilogue. Maha-Purana said to the sages who had assembled in Naimisharanya, many years ago, the great Vedavyasa had recited the Adi Purana to sages. The sages had been delighted to learn the wisdom that was in the great Brahma Purana. Whatever Vedavyasa had told those sages, I have now recited before you. Everyone should listen to a recital of this Purana, be he a householder or a hermit. A brahmana who listens to a recital of the Brahma Purana becomes learned, a kshatriya becomes victorious, a vaishya becomes rich and a kshatriya achieves happiness. One who listens to the recital faithfully attains all his wishes. The fruits of listening to such a recital are superior to visiting the most holy of tirthas or performing the most difficult of yajnas. Maha-Purana blessed the sages and returned to his own hermitage, with the express injunction that the secrets of the Purana should never be divulged to atheists who did not believe in God.